Welcome to Mission Spooky. I'm your beautiful host, JC, and with me today is the pretty okay Kiki as per usual.
Yay, JC is back.
And still not 100%, but still better than anyone else.
So guys, I may have told a fib then, like at the end of the last episode when I said we were going to do some North Carolina stuff on the fly because we got JC back, literally dragged him half dead out of bed and was like, this podcast is important. You need to get here now.
Well, what happened was I heard the intro to episode 11. And I was like, that was so piss poorly done.
Hey.
It was ridiculous. And I had to come in to introduce the show correctly, as only I can do.
Okay. So anyway, I might do a little bit of Haunted North Carolina, record things that we can use later, because I know we want to do another round of roadway stuff. So if it's not, the weather's not bad, then maybe I'll drag Keys out and we'll do like their version of Constitution Drive, basically, just for fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened to you while you were gone? Anything great? Did you watch anything, read anything, or you just laid there dead?
Yep. Yep. Just kind of laid there dead to the world, and it was a wonderful time. A lot of self-enlightenment, and by that I mean coughing and just being sick, you know. I did watch 2-sentence horror stories, I think it is. It's on Netflix. It was entertainment at its mediocre-ist.
I know that, and see, at least he tells me the truth. He's a very good co-host because he always tells me the truth. Even when he's not, he's still telling me the truth. I know you didn't listen to all the last episode that I did with
we're recording it a day after it came out, okay?
Yeah,
I'm a busy guy.
No, it's fine. And I understand that. But what I was going to say was I had so many problems saying like construction and restoration. It was kind of comical. Nice. Did you get to that part?
No.
Oh, yeah, you got to get to that part. That part's funny. I left it in on purpose because I was like, I don't know what is wrong with me, but I couldn't. And here's the really weird part. Like I just said construction and restoration just perfectly fine. And I am hopped up on some heavy duty medication right now because of the massive migraine that I had last night. Good times. So let me tell you what I did while you were gone. So after watching Hellier season 2, also sort of, coincidental that you and I had already talked about doing a fairy folk episode in early spring.
Yeah.
Right. Our musical guest was already, and this is, 4 months in advance. So we have our musical guest already lined up for that one too. And then what happens? I'm watching Hellier and then Greg's talking about this book called The Secret Commonwealth of Elves, Fauns, and Fairies, which of course I'm like, oh yeah, that's on my list to read. But I got myself a Kindle Fire. Usually these things turn out to be a total POS about 6 months from now. So I did get the 2-year warranty. But anyway, I bought it and I thought, hey, you know what? Let me go ahead and see if it's available in digital copy because I'm going on vacation. I'll be able to read it. Then I can just take the Kindle with me, right? Of course, not only was it available as a digital copy, but when I went to order it, this little thing popped up. Hey, you got a $5 coupon to use on this book. And I was like, oh, cool. I actually misread the price. So when I went to check out, I got it for free because the digital copy was $4.99.
Nice.
I'm like, thank you, universe. That is just so kind of you. I really want to read this book. And then, bam, free. Also, the other book, I just ordered El Haz Ablaze, and I tried to find out where I found it from originally. It was another heathen on Instagram, and I'm so sorry that I don't remember who it was because they might be listening. El Haz is another name for the rune Algiz, which I'm going to get into as we talk about our review. When we get down to like episode 8-ish, we'll talk about that. But I do want to say that I was talking to one of our Instagram followers called The Mountain Who Walks. Hey, bud, how you doing? He's going to read it too. And then I was like, hey, what do you think of like starting on Goodreads a reading list of everything that you and I actually read for the podcast? And hey, we have that one person.
Wait, I read for the podcast? That's not in my job description at all. At all.
Listen,
I come on, I do funny, witty banter, and I do the intro. That's it. That's my job, Kiki. These terms.
I keep adding things to your contract as we go. So.
I feel betrayed. Feel scammed.
Okay, if you decided to read a book, okay, I would put it up. That explains so much. So much. Anyway, yeah. So he was all like, yes, we have our first person interested in a book list. Yay. Yay the mountain. Thank you for listening, by the way. You're awesome. So that was my book aside. Then I have to tell you about 2 memes that I saw, which the first one is absolutely hysterical. I'm sure you're familiar with The Killing Joke, right? Batman's The Killing Joke. Oh God, I forgot you don't read.
I'm actually familiar with that one.
Okay. So anyway, I saw a meme where somebody was comparing a picture of Joel Osteen to that Brian Bolence rendition of Joker and Killing Joke. Guys, look it up. You will not be disappointed. It's really funny.
I doubt it.
I cracked my own self up.
I'm excited that you're happy about it.
Then I saw another meme. God, it was about learning Old Norse. You don't have to learn Old Norse to practice heathenism. And I was all like, yeah, you don't. But if you want to, go ahead. Because, the bottom line is, just don't be a dick. A lot of their responses were like, I'll practice how I want to and blah, blah, blah. Hey, listen. Have a sense of humor, people. It was a funny meme. It was on Instagram. You guys are whining like you're having to defend yourself against actual Christians. And the sad part is that these are all just other heathens and pagans, like bitching about like, what if I want to learn? No, it was a joke. It's funny. Ha ha ha. Get over yourself. We need to have a sense of humor because a lot of Christians don't have one anymore. So we need to take over. We got to do that.
I'm so happy I don't believe in gods.
It's a real pain in the ass.
I believe it is. Sounds like it. Ugh. Sounds annoying. Sounds like too much extra work. Not enough.
It's a lot of work.
No evidence to support that it's real.
All right. So, anything else?
It's like talking to an imaginary friend. That's where I'll end it.
How is that? Okay. And we're just going to dive right into this because I have a very long rant towards the end here. And you guys know when it's happening. I'll give you a cue when it's about to happen. You can turn the volume down. So anyway, I figure we'll just review it the same way we did last time. So it's not like we're doing every single episode separately.
Just themes.
We'll kind of, but it will be sort of in a chronological order anyway, starting from the beginning to the end. But do you have anything from like the first 3 episodes or so that you want to talk about it specifically? Or should I just start?
I love the inclusion of Tyler Strand. That guy, I feel he and I would just be buds, He's the one dude on there where I'm like, I could enjoy a beer with this guy,
That is so funny because when I got done watching the whole thing and I was talking to Keys about it and I was like, I really want to just go have a beer with Tyler Strand. I feel like at the end of that beer, like we're going to go fuck some shit up. Okay. Like we're all going to go have some fun because he's infectious.
Yeah, I like that.
In a good way.
He's just ready to do. Yeah, I'll drive 6 hours by myself to a place where I might die. Yeah, not a problem. No, I'm glad to do it. I'm excited to be a part. I love him. He's the bravest guy on that show by far. And poor everyone else having to do their best to keep up with him. I mean, there was the one episode where they went to Ashland. No, they went to Summerfield. And it was just
Somerset?
Tyler. Somerset, yeah. Look, I watched it.
I know.
I watched most of these episodes while I was on the
medication,
flu.
yes. Yeah. Okay, fine.
So
that's why I'm here.
Tyler and Greg. His Instagram thing, it starts with an N, so I keep thinking his name's
yeah, you're right.
Or his Twitter, one of the two.
Yeah, Twitter's new code.
Twitter. Yeah, so I keep thinking his name's like Nick. And it's not. And I know it's not, but I'm stupid. So this is what we get. But yeah, him and Tyler and Greg had to go to Somerset. And Dana was like, just don't do anything stupid, guys. And they immediately did stupid. Like, just immediately.
Yeah, oh my God. Dana. I love her because she is like, I have literally said those exact same words to my own husband when he was about to go do something that was like, he was going whitewater rafting, and he's not really a water person. And it was like, okay, darling, you make it. And he was their bachelor party that they had for him. They took him out, right? Whitewater rafting. And I'm like, I really appreciate if you did not die before we get married, because, you know, I could marry the ghost. There are cultures that have that, but I prefer not to do it that way. And then I said those words, like, just be careful. Don't do anything stupid. All the stupid things were done. And he did almost drown. Like, I'm not even joking. And I was like, really? Did we not have this conversation before you left about not getting hurt? Obviously, he made it back.
Yeah, because you guys were married. And he was on last week's episode.
Yeah. Yay!
So your story is meaningless. And he was obviously in control of everything that was going on.
But he wasn't, though, because then he told me after. He was like, I know you told me not to do... Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking. The women are always the ones who are like, don't do anything stupid, don't do this, whatever. And then they just go off and do it anyway. Yeah, because men know how to live fun, exciting lives. Women know how to not do those things. And we live longer.
Yeah, but sadder lives.
Hey, I've had a really exciting life, okay? I just know.
Think of how much more exciting it would be if you were a guy. Like Tyler Strand, just going to punch caves in the face. But yeah, I really enjoyed Tyler. The amount of research they did, especially Connor in the first 3 episodes, the amount of research that he did for a lot of this was outstanding. And hats off. Good job, Connor. You did good, bud.
So like, I think it's the very first episode, Greg mentions the running the A/B test for different realities. Do you remember that sentence he says? Where he's like, one reality is one where none of this exists, and the other one is where it all exists. I thought that was interesting because to me that sounded very like a cultural anthropologist who is out there studying a culture, but then winds up getting wrapped up in it, and that's what we refer to as going native. You have your own set of belief systems and your own reality, and then you have to go out and study someone else's belief systems and reality. And sometimes you just get so caught up in it that you're able to wind up worshiping their gods and go into their ceremonies and everything. So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. It's like I understood that. I understood that reference. Okay, so what do you think about the god helmet though? Because I'm gonna go on a slight rant about that, not a really long one.
So here's where I still don't like. We don't get to hear any of the audio that it, like, obviously we're getting edited versions. They were in it for like a half hour long, like 30 something minutes, I think. And for us, it was maybe 2 to 3 minutes of show. So obviously we're only seeing the bits that are interesting. So you have to think the other 35 minutes of that is probably not a lot. Or maybe it's something really exciting that they're just like, we can't share this to the world right now. They're not ready. But like, I don't know. Only Greg and Carl and Dana and Connor would know that. Sorry, I'm so sniffly right now.
Hey, you're doing your best. It's all right.
So, I enjoyed watching it, but, you know, it's just like when she used the tarot cards. It wasn't for me, and I didn't put a lot of stock into it, or anything that came from that session. I do like that they partnered it with a Ghost Box session. That was cool. But they were sitting back to back, so it's like, how can you be sure that they weren't hearing each other? What type of headphones are they? What's the quality of those headphones that they had? Like, those are the things I need to know.
I'm going to be going off about the headphone thing at the end. That's actually my rant at the end. It's going to be...
I'm so excited.
It's going to be glorious. Really, it is. Yeah. I put a lot of effort into this rant.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good one. Here's the thing for the God Helmet, guys. It is not necessarily real. There was a study done at a Dutch music festival in which... And I just like to say that I would love to see the results at an Ozfest. Think of it that way, Americans. You know, if you're going to Ozfest, you've got a lot of people who are drunk, high, and both. And what they did at this Dutch festival was very similar. they gathered together a group of people. They had a form to fill out. So it was like, what have you taken? Basically, some kind of like level of how messed up are you? How much have you had to drink? What drugs have you taken? Whatever. Then they're like, okay, we're going to put this quote unquote God helmet on you. And we're going to basically tell them what it's for. It's going to open their mind. It's going to make them see things. It's going to, whatever. They had exactly the same results with drunk and high people with a placebo helmet that was not real at all. Just a bunch of wires attached to a skating helmet, basically. They got the same results as from people who put the helmet on who were not high or drunk to put the real one on. So the question is then, is this just another one of the trick of the minds, like the ideomotor response during Ouija board? Of course, on the flip side of that is, as I said before, if you believe that it's real, does it then work anyway? Because you're tricking yourself into seeing things. I don't know. It's an interesting experiment. I mean, I'm okay with it, but you do have to look at the other side of that, the other side of the helmet. It's possible that it does not work. It's all just a trick of your own mind.
Yeah. Well, I think that was why they partnered it up with another test or another experiment, and they had them both running at one time. And it was almost like Dana and I think it was Connor were having a conversation via the two instruments. Dana would ask the questions, and then Connor would give answers. So it was interesting as well that as soon as like the God helmet audio or whatever stopped, Connor stopped getting good response, like any kind of responses. But once again, how much of it's for a show and how much of it's real? And while I do like to trust Greg and his team, I think we should always put into question everyone and everything and just be like, well, I have some issues with it, so I'm not going to take it to heart. This is not, to me, it's not proof of anything other than they did 2 experiments at once and got some interesting results.
There's a situation that happens. I don't want to give away too much because this
just
is kind
give
of
it away.
No. I promised no spoilers. Listen, I had an opportunity for Godzilla spoilers, which I took because I don't care. I want to know. But
so we're not going to talk about when they have the net gun and they capture a goblin at the end of episode 10?
No, we're not going to talk about that. No.
Good, because it didn't happen.
Okay, there's a certain situation. I liked how the situation was looked at from a very human point of view, that it's not necessarily in this case that they were being dragged somewhere from a entity or something higher power, but it could have just been a person dragging them into a very, very bad situation. Which is why, I reiterate, they put out the PSA about stay away from Somerset, stay away from Hellier, don't bug people, because you could be putting yourself into a very dangerous situation. If the situation turns out to be real, then there could be, death involved, murder, and, if there truly is a cover-up. So why are you going to be putting yourself in that danger on purpose? That's just stupid.
Even if the situation is not real, you could just be really annoying to local people who are in a small town in Kentucky and may or may not be armed. Like, even Tyler was asked to leave, I'm
going to get into that as well.
I'm just saying,
short rant.
The community does not always respond well to things like this. If you're going to do poking around and stuff, you have to be careful about it. And most people are not careful. Especially like, oh, I just saw the show. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to figure this out myself. Your intentions might be good in the fact that you want to figure out what's going on in Hellier and Somerset and whatever. But you might go about it way too aggressively, and you're going to get yourself in trouble. Even if there's nothing going on in Somerset and Hellier, there's going to be people in the community that are like, there's this blonde guy walking around asking a bunch of dumb questions. We don't like it.
Yeah, so let me talk about Tyler's trip to Brown Mountain for a second. I will say this.
Brown Mountain
is the place to be. I don't know.
No, it's what I call every time after I go to the bathroom.
I knew it. You're so gross.
It's a poop joke. Get it? Because it's brown. Brown Mountain, a mountain of brown.
Oh my god.
Look, they named the mountain, not me. It's their fault.
Anyway.
They should have known better.
There's an old man carved into the tree. Do you remember that part?
Yes.
Okay, and they thought it was one thing, but honestly, like when I saw it, I thought it was Odin.
When I saw it, it just looked like somebody might have carved an old man into a tree. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but wood carving's a pretty popular activity. I work in a place that sells wood carving supplies. It's a pretty popular activity. Sometimes carvings are just carvings, and you don't have to worry too much about it. And it was a big bearded guy.
That you bring up a good point, is that depending on what, and this is where I talk about things that influence you, okay? I look at that and I say, oh, that looks like a carving of Odin, because that's what I think of. Somebody else looks at that carving and says, oh no, that's the Green Man, because maybe they're pagan. Or maybe they just really are looking for the Green Man and it's in their head. And so any picture of an old man makes them think that at the time. So that's why you gotta be really careful.
Like, honestly, it could have just been some grandfather or some father, male figure from the family that planted that tree, loved that tree, and when he passed, they decided to carve his likeness into the tree as like a memorial. That's all it might have been. And they made it a big deal. And I don't think there was a reason for it.
I didn't take it as like a big deal. I thought it was interesting that it showed up, right? Of all the things to be carved into a particular tree near this area. But here's where I'm going to go on my rant for a minute. Dear Tyler Strand, I lived in North Carolina for almost 20 years. I've been to Brown Mountain area. It is creepy. It draws a lot of certain types of people to it. And if you're an outsider in any of these small towns, and I'm not picking on North Carolina here either. I will say that this is across the board in the United States. And I'm going to get into why I think it's like that. Okay. But you go to these small towns and you're by yourself and you're a guy. You just walked up to a house with a 60-some-year-old woman by herself. And you really thought that she wasn't going to call the cops on you and give your description. So it's such a small place that now everybody's on high alert. So they're looking for a car sitting in a parking lot by itself with a dude who looks exactly like you. Because they don't have anything else to do. They're not going after you to specifically kick you out. They're going after you because, honestly, how do they not know that you're not a serial killer? They don't know if you have any priors. They don't know if you're casing homes looking to murder 60-year-old women and take all their stuff. So what we were talking about earlier of the whole don't go there, okay? You see that happen with Tyler. It happens. I'm also going to tell you, there is still a small town in North Carolina that has a sign that says, no N-words welcome past dark. And I'm not even going to say the name of the town. It's there. This is how these people still think too, in small pockets of small town America. So it doesn't matter if you're a white dude and you're an outsider, they're going to treat you the same way. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is, And then you have to look at it that when I say people are simple, right? They're living their best life out there. They just go to work, they come home, some of them are farmers. It's a simplistic way of life. I'm not saying that they're stupid. Far from it.
Yeah.
And it's a double-edged sword though, because if you're a stranger and you're in need, then they may help you. But if you're a stranger and you're asking a bunch of weird-ass questions, they might call the cops on you.
Oh, yeah. And that's what I think totally happened, because he even was like, yeah, I was totally honest with her about what I was doing there and why I was there. And I'm like, why would you go to a random house in the middle of the woods, essentially, on a dirt gravel path, and expect them to be like, oh yeah, no, this guy came, started asking me about weird ass goblins and stuff, and I just told him, yeah, they're outside all the time. Like, I'm confused as to what you were expecting. I think Tyler handled that a little incorrectly. I would have just gone up, hey, I decided to go hiking, got lost on a trail, I got up to a point, saw a road, I'm here, can you point me out of the woods? Oh, hey, that's a really cool carving on your tree. What's that about? That's it. That's all you gotta talk about. And maybe something from the cart, but you already, hey, I'm here with paranormal stuff and things. And now she's like, well, this is weird and creepy. And she was probably just yes-anding him, like, to get him to go away.
Yeah, so that was, I was a little disappointed in it. And hey, this is coming from two people who still want to have a beer with Tyler Strand.
Oh, yeah. Dude's amazing.
I'm just saying, I was not at all surprised by the results of that conversation.
I feel like as soon as he on the thing was like, yeah, I was totally honest with her, I literally facepalmed.
All right, so now the physical anthropologist in me wants to discuss the bones in the cave.
Oh, yeah, that Greg and Tyler found when they weren't supposed to go in caves. Somehow they found bones in a cave.
In a cave after they were specific. I love that so much. Okay, so you bet your ass if it was me, though, multiple photographs of those, taking some samples, okay? Because even though it may not have anything to do with your phenomenon, it's the kind of thing that needs to get documented. Because honestly, you had to figure that if you're going to be filming all of this, and as we've seen, now some idiots want to go out there and go to these places, okay? And granted, they might not ever be able to find these particular caves. It's still a good thing to document because you could be saving somebody's life. I'd already watched the whole thing on Amazon Prime, but then they said that it was released on YouTube as well, which made it just a little bit easier. YouTube is, for me, a lot easier to go back and forth in the screen. Yeah. And to stop it. So I was able to stop it at a certain point, and it looks like definitely one of the scapulas that was visible is a deer scapula. So, and then there was a quick run through. It was a little blurry of some vertebrae, and again, it looked very similar to deer vertebrae. So the question is, if a dead deer is getting dragged that far into a cave, it's a fucking bear. Get the fuck out of the cave. Don't go near the cave again, and tell people, probably fucking bears in the cave. Don't go there. You know, like, duh. That's me. See, this is where, you know, different people look for different things.
Yeah.
You know, that's where that comes from. Episode 8, it's called The Secret Commonwealth.
Yeah.
About the book.
Of Pennsylvania, yeah. The Secret Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Yes. We are a secret commonwealth here. You don't even know.
We're one of, 3? Well, 4 in the country.
There's 4.
There's us, I think Connecticut, Maryland, and the Ferries.
Yeah. Yeah, the Ferry Court.
Ferry Court.
Who may live in Willow Grove. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
So this got me. And then this is one of those things where I talk about people who have different skill sets will see different things when they're shown pictures.
Yes.
Okay. So Greg is looking at The Rebirth of Pan by Jim Brandon. It was written in 1986, and he talks about this book and how difficult it is to get a hold of. He managed to get a copy, and he puts up a picture of the three-toed markings that are mentioned in the book and are very similar to the three-toed goblin footprints, right?
Yep.
When I saw that, my immediate reaction was, that's the rune Algiz. We have the heathens out there, then they know that Algiz is representation of the divine might of the universe. It's directly related to higher spiritualism, right?
Okay.
Which, by the way, the book that I just bought called El-Haz Ablaze, El-Haz is the other name for the rune Algiz. And the book is a combination of, addressing the combination of both chaos magic and heathenry. And as you know, chaos magic relies heavily on Aleister Crowley's 93rd current. And I just want to say, and I'm not joking, this is kind of funny, if you watch Hellier on YouTube and you go to that episode, 8, and you stop it at 9 minutes and 31 seconds, that's when Greg puts the photo up of the three-toed. That's really funny.
That is interesting. An interesting coincidence indeed.
Yeah, so anyway, and I'm really not trying to start a conspiracy theory here. I looked at the timestamp and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. What the fuck? I wonder if anybody else has noticed this yet, because it is amusing. I also want to know if anybody's noticed that the three-toed turkey print is basically Algiz, the rune of divine might. Yeah.
No, I didn't notice that.
No, because you don't read runes, but that's all right.
I don't read.
You don't read.
Yeah, I keep
forgetting.
Yeah.
Keep forgetting.
You'll get there.
I know. Damn it.
See, the thing is, why read when I already have all knowledge?
I also keep forgetting about that too. Yeah, it's an easy thing to forget about. So I had to laugh. I think you probably got a chuckle out of this too because we were just talking about it. Look, this episode is basically let's just hashtag it. This is hashtag Tyler Strand episode, okay? I actually wrote this down so I wouldn't forget to say it, and it's so funny because you said it already in a way. But after they have sort of like they're doing their separate interviews on the Terry wrist thing, right? And the question is for both of them at separate times, right? Separate interviews. Greg, do you want to meet Terry wrist? And he says, I'd like to meet Terry on a good day, right? To me, that's optimistically cautious, right?
Yeah.
There's curiosity there, but you're being not stupid about it. And then there's Strand who says, fuck yeah, I want to meet Terry.
Whenever.
And it was in that moment that I realized that Tyler Strand is the dog in the group. It's like, hey, Tyler, you want to see a deep, dark hole? Oh, you see it? It's down there, boy. Yeah, go get him.
And he'll crawl to the bottom of the hole. And he'll get whatever's down there. And he'll bring it up.
I said to my husband, I'm like watching it going, looking at both of them together, it's like it's the perfect duo. Because Greg is the guy who's, sure, let's go look at great white sharks. I'm going to stay in the cage. And Tyler's like, let me out. I'm going to go pet that shark, Do you have anything else to say before I go on a particularly long rant?
Is your rant involving the downed tree?
No. Actually, we didn't even talk about... No, go ahead. What do you have to say about it?
That was uniquely interesting. So what happens is Tyler Strand goes to Brown Mountain. He goes to coordinates that Terry Risk gave. At those coordinates, he finds, or within like a few meters of that coordinate, he finds a happy birthday balloon. Now, to me, it's just litter, okay? That sucks. He grabs it. At the moment, he's like, this is significant. I'm taking it. I'm bringing it with. They interview Alan Greenfield, which was a very interesting interview. They talk about, he went to his coordinates. He found a happy birthday balloon. And Alan's like, do you realize the significance of this? Like, when you found the balloon, when it happened, blah, 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 blah. Like, they really go into a lot of stuff that I don't want to spoil. But they found the balloon, and they're like, oh, wow. And Alan kept bringing it up. Like, do you realize the significance of that? I can't get it out of my head, and I'm into this shit. Like, do you realize what you found? And so they're going back after the interview the next day, whatever. They're going back home. And they decide to drive through Somerset. And they're taking weird old, like, dirt paths just around the area. And they come across a tree that's downed in blocking the road. And they get out. And there's a blue balloon, like, tucked into this fucking tree trunk. Like, it's... like right next to where the tree trunk is. It's not tucked into it, but it's right next to where the tree trunk is, and it's a blue balloon, and it's very interesting. I think they hear a weird howl when they're stopped. They end up moving the tree because it wasn't a big tree, but they had to stop, and they continue on their way. But it was that is like an interesting. I'll say it. Synchronicity.
I've gotten you now. Yep. You're in it now, boy.
But yeah, that was a very interesting part of the thing.
So let's talk about the Estes Method for a minute. There's a lot of problems with this.
Which one was the Estes Method? Remind me.
It is where they're putting on noise canceling earphones, and then inside there though is your mic that's hooked up to the SB7 radio that's flipping through channels, and you're trying to interpret what words are coming through. And we've already talked about the problems that we both have with that, which is that you're not getting to hear that audio at all. But that's not really my biggest problem. Whenever you have a human being interpreting anything, there's room for error, which is why it would be nice to hear what they hear, because maybe I'm going to hear something totally different. And you're already using people in the group who have been predisposed to all these ideas. And when you do that, you're going to invite skeptics to write articles about how shitty your show is.
Mind you, I don't disagree with the idea of what the skeptics are coming at. I'm not going to say the skeptics are all always going to be right, but once again, you should always be skeptical, and you should always call into question any evidence and anything like this, because it's important that we get the actual facts and the what's happening. So if there is possibility for error, you should eliminate as many of those avenues of possibility as possible.
Okay, so I was reading an article written by a skeptic about the quote-unquote fact that the earphones that they used, because they're visible in the show so you know what they're doing, coupled with the SB7 radio, and they claimed that they could hear everything that was being said and that was going on around them, which means that it's null and void. If you're using those earphones to cancel out any conversation going on around you, it doesn't work. This is their article. Now, I would love for us to conduct our own scientific experiment using the same set of noise-canceling earphones and the SB7 radios, and I would be willing to do it the correct way, and this is where my rant starts. This person in particular, who I'm not going to name, they claimed that Dana, Greg, and company are being scientifical and not scientific, and then they proceeded to conduct their own experiment on these earphones and came back with this information that they don't work. I'm not inclined to believe a skeptic either, because as much as they argue about paranormal investigation being skewed by the believers in the phenomenon, I can say the same thing about them. Skeptics are great and all, but they are biased by the opposite problem, being unbelievers. My personal experience has been that unless, and I'm going to say it, unless you went to college and you are trained in scientific method, then you are just an amateur. So why am I going to believe your results? You're also using yourself as the only test subject. How is that scientific method? It simply is not. It's an article refuting the Estes Method. It's not scientific method. So let's go over what scientific method really is, spooksters. First of all, you ask a question. In this case, it is, are the headphones used by the Estes Method in Hellier able to cancel out noise while using an SB7 radio? There's your question. Then you do the research on that, okay? So you research the headphones, you research all the other types of equipment, done with the headphones, etc. Then you write your hypothesis, which is something like, if you use this specific type of headphone for the Estes Method session, will it be able to cancel out noise based on blah, blah, blah? The blah, blah, blah is your research, right? It's the research you've done in your headphones. You can also add, we aim to prove this hypothesis, and give suggestions on other headphones to use, because see, it's not just about proving something is wrong, it's about being helpful to the rest of the community. Then you analyze your data, and you draw conclusions based on the data from all your groups. And as I said before, it's perfectly okay if your data is inconclusive, because it's happened to me too. But you still need to write that. And then in that conclusion, you can write what you may have been flawed in the experiment, what you might do differently next time, and where scientists can go with your results next. And I'm telling you, as someone who worked on a year-long group project, where our project had to be written not only to be presented at a professional conference, but also to be published, I repeat, an article for a magazine is not adhering to scientific method either. All you're doing is bitching about how others aren't scientific enough while also not being scientific. Do the work. Because until then, I'm going to use your data and add it to my research, and I'm going to make a publishable paper. Instead of taking a photo of myself, looking all smug, sitting on my front porch like I'm fucking Franz Boas. End of rant.
Well, now that we're done being yelled at... Whew. Whew, gosh, he was a little angry, guys.
Hell yeah, I'm angry. Don't come at me. Don't write a frickin' article refuting something that these guys have done and say that they're not scientific. You're not either. All it is an op-ed piece. That's it. You haven't proven shit to me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, let me get this yawn out. Okay. So yeah, you're right. Their only study was themselves. You'd preferably have many people test this out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I actually...
Oh God, the rant wasn't over. I'm so
skipped-
sorry.
I
What have I
skipped
done? The storms, the clouds are back, guys.
I forgot the most important part. Yeah, conduct experiments to test your hypothesis, which requires more than just yourself. You need a sample size. In this case, I'd choose about 50 volunteers, preferably more than half that don't even know what the Estes Method is or have no connection to paranormal whatsoever. You could determine that by a survey with simple yes or no questions, right? And then you'd need at least 3 different scenarios, not just standing in fucking Best Buy with them on saying, oh, I can hear everything. That's not an experiment. And then, so you need 3 different scenarios, and you need a control group who's possibly not even wearing headphones that are noise canceling. You know? Like, what the fuck, dude? Okay, I'm done.
Are we sure about that?
Yeah, I'm done. So anyway, the ritual part was fantastic. I enjoyed the hell out of that. That was great.
Which ritual are you?
The ritual to Pan, the invoking of Pan.
Oh yeah, that was really nice.
I haven't heard anybody talk about the music part that was used. I got some really good information about that. Thank you, Keys, who was a music major and can play several instruments.
Okay, so what's the information?
Okay, I'm going to
God damn it.
Hold on, first of all. Yeah, the ritual was awesome. I just want to say that.
Okay.
And then, did you feel a certain way when you heard the tones being played?
Yeah, I felt like I was possibly having a fever, coughing, and could throw up at any moment. That's how I felt. But really, that was the theme for about a week. So I also felt like my head was about to explode. And did I mention coughing?
I already have a lot of coughs to edit out of this episode. You poor thing. You poor thing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
People need to send chicken soup, man. I will say this. I actually did start feeling nauseous when I was listening to it. I had earphones in. I had my earbuds in listening to it and watching it on my phone. This is very interesting. So I know a little tiny itty bit about music, as in, like, I used to sing in chorus. But anyway, I did play violin. So I know enough to get by, but he's like the super expert, right? So I asked him the other night, I was like, hey, can you just listen to this? And I want you to tell me what you, like, why is this weird? It doesn't feel right. And he like listened to it for literally like 2 seconds and takes the earphones off and is like, dude, it's a leading tone. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, it doesn't have a resolution.
Okay.
I know, because you're looking at me like I don't even understand. I'm sorry. I know. So this is going to be difficult to explain to people that are not musicians. Now, I understood what he said. It's a leading tone. It means that it's a tone that inside your brain feels like it needs to have a resolution to it, but it doesn't. Because there isn't. In this case, they're just playing the same tone over and over again. What, 30 minutes or something? That's ridiculous. No wonder they felt sick. So he literally, without watching any of this yet, he has not watched any of the episodes yet. He just listened to this one little excerpt, and he heard, I think it was Tyler say, it makes me feel frustrated. I don't like it. And that's when Keys was like, yeah, because your brain is looking for the next set of tones to resolve that one, and it's not getting there. And then he literally says, it's going to make you frustrated. Your brain is waiting, and it wants to resolve the notes itself. He did tell me that he felt like it was a 7th chord. And here's where the numbers are going to come into play, and it's going to be really fucked up. He goes, if it sounds to me like it's a chord in the 7th chord. And I was like, okay, fine. And he says, it's a chord progression that's used a lot in pop music. So in other words, our brains know this chord progression just because we've listened to music. He said that in this case, if it is a 7th, it should resolve itself into a 4th. And then he proceeded to tell me that the 1, the 3, and the 7 chords need to be resolved. I don't understand. I get it, but I also don't get it. It's kind of strange those numbers popped up again, isn't it? Also, 9 and 3 chords are commonly used in jazz music. So if you want to practice chaos magic, I suggest you listen to some jazz before you go for it. Okay? You're looking at me like you have no fucking idea what I just said.
That's because I don't. So what I'm getting is sounds sometimes make you feel weird.
Yes.
When purposely done, Yeah.
Yes, but, and again, I don't think that it was done purposefully, though, because you had Dana hearing this, 3 notes and being told to play them at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a chord. 3 notes, right? But it's a chord only because they actually kind of go together.
Okay.
Right? This particular chord, though, is one that is leading to another set to resolve itself musically.
Okay.
So that it doesn't frustrate you.
However, they don't have the
Right.
resolution.
They don't have the resolution chords.
Uh-huh.
And so when you play that same set of notes like that, it makes you like crazy. Like you're like, where's the rest of it? Because your brain is asking you that question. Where's the rest of it? You yourself might, because look, me there, I'm sitting there going, God, why is this making me like crazy? Like, oh, I agree. I don't like this. Why don't I like this? And then, Keys is like, that's why you don't like it, because you need the rest of it. Very interesting. Anything else you want to add before, before we give our final tally?
Yeah, that's all I got.
I will say this in the final episode. Not only was it very intriguing, and also there's a part in it that I thought was really neat because I happen to use one of these when I'm doing sigil crafting.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very intriguing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, very intriguing indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll wait. Maybe I'll get into that in a few months or so if we ever do an episode that it pops up again. But no spoilers.
Yeah.
0 spoilers. As I said to the dude on Twitter who didn't quite understand what the hell was going on, God love Twitter people because reading comprehension is not always their strong point. We got blocked by somebody because I told him not to give anything away, not to ask any spoiler type questions on our feed because that's not cool. I don't want to know anything about if there's going to be a season 3. Like, I don't want to know anything about season 3. And he didn't. I said they. I'm not sure it was a boy or girl, but they didn't get it. It was kind of funny. Anyway, go to our Twitter, and you'll know what I'm talking about. In summary, I'm still sticking with my 4 out of 5 spooks.
Same.
For this season. Yeah, it was still...
Is that what I gave it last time? I forget.
Yep. Just a couple minor things that were bugging me, but other than that, again, superb editing, great music.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Carl, you do a good job putting a documentary together. And everyone involved, you're all fantastic. Honestly, and I think I said this in the review of season 1, I'm happy that this is sparking new life into like the paranormal research, especially issues of high strangeness. Yeah. So 4 out of 5 spooks.
All right, cool. So this was our first complete review of a television series. There's a lot of really good Bigfoot documentaries that I want to watch and get caught up on because, that's what happens when you're out of the paranormal community for so long that I'm getting back into it and I'm just like, I missed a lot.
Yeah.
I really missed a lot. I was busy. With school and family, so it's all good. If you want to join the squad, head over to patreon.com/missionspooky. We have tiers at the $1 and $2 levels. $1 single buck gets you our undying gratitude and a shout out on the cast. The $2 level gets you access to our boober reels.
Full of boobs.
You still have time to send us your ghost stories to add to an upcoming episode on the King George Inn. Looks like we'll probably be doing that one either towards the end of February, early March at this rate, because we're still looking for, I've got some good stories, but I want some more. So specifically, if you ever worked in a haunted restaurant or have any experiences inside the King George Inn in Allentown, Pennsylvania, then please send them to us at missionspookypodcast, all one word, @gmail.com. Feel free to email us questions or comments on any of the previous episodes, the same email address. And if you're a PA, New Jersey, or you own your own music and would like to be featured on the podcast, please feel free to contact us through private message on Instagram or Twitter. You'll get me. You can email us directly at missionspookypodcast@gmail.com as well. You can find our musical guest songs on Spotify by typing in Mission Spooky 2020 in the search bar. And we're going to be continually adding all of those as we go. Right now we have Forget the Whale on there and this song, Svea. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Mission Spooky, and now at our new Facebook page, Mission Spooky at Facebook, or Facebook at what? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, just search Mission Spooky via Facebook and it will come up.
You'll get JC.
Yeah, it's my beautiful face. Well, it's actually the same picture we use for all of our Mission Spooky stuff, but it's, I run it with an iron fist. Mess with me and you get
The
nothing.
fist?
Yeah. You get nothing. Could you stop coughing? It's really annoying and it's interrupting. How unprofessional for you to just sit there coughing like a lunatic. I would never do that.
Never. That's never happened.
Never. Not once.
Don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes. Just remember to be kind, and also rate and review us on podchaser.com. You can find us on there. My shout out today goes to Boss Logic. You can find him on Instagram at Boss Logic, BossLogic. He has a beautiful print that he's selling of Groot holding a koala and walking through like kind of a burnt out land, like he's going to help animals. It's very sweet, and all the proceeds from that sale are going to the Red Cross # Save Australia. And I know you have a shout out.
Yes, as I am on another episode of Gizmo's Corner, which should be coming out in a few days. Actually, by the time this comes out, it should already be out. We talk about the rise of Skywalker, and you get to see hear my reviews and how defensive I get about something I love and I'm passionate about. And when the host of Gizmo's Corner isn't as loving, I'm going to drive. I'm going to get his head, I'm going to wear as a hat.
Yeah, I was going to say that's like the second time that you've threatened to do that. So if it does happen, # police.
It's the 5th time. There were 3 times on the recording where I'm pretty sure I bring that up.
Anyway, and as always, stay spooky and don't die. But if you do, contact us.
We're learning Morse code, so please use that.